The Dak Prescott situation continues to percolate. And I had access to Stephen Jones, the Cowboys COO, Executive Vice President, and Director of Player Personnel on Friday afternoon. We spoke for about 20 minutes. And I was trying to come up with ways to just kind of get at how they are dealing with this challenge of getting Dak Prescott's side. When we consider, Chris, the fact that Dak Prescott currently has the franchise tag at $31.4 million for this year, and by rule, next year it becomes $37.68 million. And by rule, the year after that, if they want to take him a third time, it goes up 44%, and it will be north of $54 million. How are they going to handle this? How are they going to do it? And, it's a deadline-driven business. And one of the things I asked Stephen Jones is whether we should be focusing on July 15. That's when the window closes for doing a long-term deal with a player who has the franchise tag. Here's Stephen Jones regarding the deadline for getting it done with Dak.
I mean, at the end of the day, I know everybody's out there, how have you not paid Dak? At the same time, Dak has to. We've tried to pay him, and he has to accept what we want to pay him. But the deal's got to be right for Dak. It's got to be right for us. As you know, Mike, the salary cap makes this a zero-sum game for owners. This is not something where Jerry and myself are trying to save money so the Cowboys can make more money for the Jones family. We're just trying to do our very best, working with Mike, working with Will McClay to really divide up the pie in the best way possible to win a Super Bowl. There's all sorts of analytics out there that show if your quarterback takes up too big a percentage of your salary cap, that, it decreases your chances to win. So just trying to figure out the right fit. No one wants to sign Dak to a longer-term deal more than Jerry and myself. We're on the record time and time again on what we think of him as a leader. He has the it factor. He's a fierce competitor. He wants to win as well, and it's just got to be right for him and right for us. We'll continue to work to a conclusion on that.
All sounds good. All makes sense. But the reality is, Chris, Dak has the leverage. He's got the $31.4 million in hand. He's got the promise of $37.68 million next year. Whatever the Cowboys offer him has to make Dak willing to trade in what he currently has. It's a simple bargain. It's like buying someone's car, right? How much you want for the car? Well, I'll just keep the car. What Dak can keep is $31.4, $37.68, and then in 2022 an opportunity to say, I'm hitting the open market with $69 million plus in his pocket. It's not going to be easy to get the Cowboys to a point where Dak says, I'll trade in what I already have for whatever it is you want to pay me.
Well, yeah, but you don't have that, so that to me is the balance there. And, I'm case in point in this conversation anyways. Sure, those numbers sound great. And, that's a lot of if factor there. Well, what if, and my if factors, he tears his knee up or something like that. And now he's not making that type of money.
He's never missed a game.
Okay.
He's never missed a game. Well, hang on. He's never missed a game. He's got insurance up and or out the wazoo, and he's got plenty of marketing money. He's been playing year to year his entire career because the Cowboys have made him play year to year, especially last year when they could have signed him for a hell of a lot less than what it's going to cost now. It's very easy for Dak Prescott to say, I'm going to do what Kirk Cousins did. 31.4 now. That's guaranteed. $31.4 million is guaranteed for this year. All he's got to do is make it through this year, and he's getting $37.68 million next year. That's not a whole lot of ifs, Christopher.
Oh, Dak, that's all you got to do, Dak. Just play 16 games with people trying to kill you every game, and that's all you got to do. Just be healthy, and you'll be okay.
He's played 64. He's played 64 plus playoff games.
Okay, Tom Brady never got hurt until he got hurt, and then he missed the whole season. So this could happen to him during a year when he loses a big part of his contract or his leverage because of his health. So I mean, I understand what you're saying, and I'm just giving you a hard time, of course. But I will say too, that yes, there has to be that risk factor there. But the biggest thing with Dak Prescott too, and the Dallas Cowboys, and I really believe the Dallas Cowboys want to get this deal done. And Mike, I've done some digging on this a little bit to where I feel like I got a pretty good feel. And, from everything I know or hear about the subject, it really seems to come down to a fourth and a fifth year as far as the contract extension is concerned. And from what I've been told, I mean, Dak Prescott, just like Stephen Jones said, I will echo this, has been offered an unbelievable contract. I've been told it was $35 million a year on average. So they're trying to make him the highest paid quarterback in football. The big thing is I guess guaranteed money. And the thing that I've been told more than anything is the fifth year. Dak Prescott and his agent don't want a fifth year. They want a fourth year on the contract. The Cowboys want that fifth year. And because the Cowboys want that fifth year, Dak and his company camp sound like they're willing to go there, but only if it's like a number that protects them for what the quarterback number might be 5-6 years from now, which I understand. And they want a number on that last year that I've been told is around $45-46 million. And I think that's where the disconnect is right now. And that's where the Jones and Dak Prescott are going to have to get together and talk this out a little bit and try to figure it out, because I'm just shocked we're still sitting here and this has not been resolved.
If only they would just guarantee that he receive a set percentage of the salary cap 5 years from now. If only someone would ever steal my idea, and it's really not my idea, it's an idea that I stole from others who have tried to get a percentage of the salary cap in lieu of a set number, because that's the problem. As the cap grows and grows, now we're in the middle of a pandemic that may take a significant chunk out of the NFL's revenue streams by the time this season ends, which would affect next year's cap. But conceptually, and barring a pandemic, the salary cap keeps going up and up and up. And the problem is you lock into a 5-year deal where, as of right now, the fifth-year salary seems fair. But when we get to year 5, the market has changed dramatically. And Dak Prescott's looking at what he's making saying, what the hell's wrong with this picture? That's why I've been a proponent of guaranteeing that a key quarterback, a Patrick Mahomes, a Dak Prescott, a Kyler Murray, a Lamar Jackson, the list is going to go on and on as these great young quarterbacks get to the point where they are due new contracts. Just give them a percentage of the salary cap, whatever the cap may be. Then you have the remaining percentage left over to pay the rest of your players. It's simple, it's fair, and that's the way to get Dak Prescott, I believe, to agree to a fifth year. You don't even have to do it years 1, 2, 3, and 4. Just do it year 5. Just guarantee his salary will be X or X percent of the salary cap, whichever is greater. It's that simple.
Yeah, well, I mean, I hear you. It makes a lot of sense. You know, it does. It really does. Now, let me ask you this, Mike. In a year like this, if you're a player, do you run it? I mean, okay, when it comes to just the last year of the contract, the percentage thing, that might work. But right now, if you were Dak Prescott and you were looking for a percentage of the team's salary cap, do you want it right now because of what you said? I mean, what if the pandemic and everything that happens this year leads the next year's salary cap to go down $20 million or $15 or $30 million, whatever it may be? All of a sudden, his percentage where he thinks, okay, this is going to be great, he's going to get a low number to where he'll be back down, you know, below Matt Ryan or Ryan Tannehill as far as average per money, average per year. So what do you think there? I'm just asking you in curiosity.
It's a simple answer. Look, Cowboys, you waited until after the pandemic to get serious about this. If you'd signed me last year and we had talked percentage of the salary cap, you'd have won that bargain because you'd be paying me less in 2021 if the cap goes down. Now, folks, here's what I got. 31-4 this year, and by rule, a 20% raise next year, regardless of what happens with the salary cap. I'm looking at $37.68 million next year. So if the cap plummets to $150 million, $37.68 million is a hell of a lot greater percentage of the salary cap for your quarterback than you ever bargained for. I got leverage. Give me what I want. I mean, that's the bottom line here. That's what we can't get away from. And Chris, I know that I remember you interviewing Dak Prescott at the Super Bowl in Atlanta, sitting on his sleep number bed, talking about doing a team-friendly deal, and he gave you the side eye. Remember that? Look, if he was ever going to do a team-friendly deal, he would have done it by now. He has taken a business-like approach to this every step of the way. It has vexed and frustrated and confounded the Cowboys, and there's no reason to think he's going to stop now. And here's what's amazing. Here's what surprised me more than anything else, because I tried to attack the problem different ways. Like, hey, Steven, after July 15, how comfortable are you if Dak holds out and Andy Dalton is the starter in training camp in the preseason? Is that one of the reasons why he didn't want to talk about anything other than signing Dak to a long-term deal? period. Well, I said, how about this? How about this? Is there any chance that the Cowboys exercise the nuclear option of rescinding the franchise tag, taking away the 31-4, and making Dak Prescott a free agent now at a time when no one else is going to pay him 31-4 or anything close to it? The depth charts are set. The budgets are blown. I asked Stephen Jones, is there a chance that franchise tag will be rescinded? Here's what he had to say.
Dak's our quarterback for the future. Obviously, this hadn't been the easiest thing. As Jerry says, as money gets bigger, deals get harder. Certainly, we're talking, a significant amount of money here, which he so deserves. But absolutely not. Dak's going to be our quarterback this year. He's our quarterback for the future. We think the world of him. He represents our franchise in a very positive way in terms of what we want as a leader of our team. And he's just an outstanding man, and we would never rescind the franchise tag.
Bottom line, there it goes. The nuclear option will remain under wraps, Chris. I was surprised that they didn't at least say, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it, or circumstances can change in August. Let's just say, absolutely not, will not rescind the franchise tag. Now, that doesn't operate as a legal waiver of their ability to rescind the franchise tag. And if they decide to do it, all they have to do is deal with the fact that Stephen Jones said they wouldn't in May, and it's very easy to say things change. But I was surprised that he was that forceful that they're not going to do it. At least you want to keep that option on the table, because that's the only leverage you have at this point if you're the Cowboys.
Well, yeah. I mean, it is certainly one of the only leverage tools they have. I get that. But at the same time, it's very dangerous for a team that we know is, in that Super Bowl window, or on paper has a Super Bowl talent, on their roster. So they don't want to dance with that or dangle with that danger of that. It's different than what we saw from Josh Norman a few years ago when the Carolina Panthers rescinded it, Dave Gettleman and company, and he went to the Washington Redskins. First off, it's not a quarterback. Josh Norman, love, hate, whatever relationship in the locker room, whatever it may be. Dak Prescott, there's none of that. He's the leader of the football team. They love him. They've already talked about that. They make that well known. And I think the team feels very similar about Dak Prescott as what we hear the Jones family say too. So when you do that, that will open up eyes. If you were rescind the franchise tag on a guy like Dak Prescott, where the other 52 guys on the team go, man, nobody really stays in the facility longer on a daily basis than Dak Prescott. Nobody does the little things to make this team better and more often than Dak Prescott. The Cowboys they'll lose respect within the locker room, and they'll have a few issues there. That can cause dysfunction. So that's where you got to be careful. But I also want to sit here to Dak Prescott, Mike, and go, I don't know if I agree with some of the demands I'm hearing. And again, I don't know if I've heard everything 100%. I'd love to talk to Dak Prescott and know exactly what's bothering him from his side. But from the thing I get from multiple people around the league is it comes down to that fifth year. And to me, at some point, Dak Prescott's just going to go, listen, they're paying you to be the highest paid player in the history of football. They're paying you to play, paying you more than guys who deserve to be paid more than you. Dak Prescott, again, I don't think he's one of the 5 best quarterbacks. Is he somewhere 6 through 10? Definitely. He's won one playoff game, right? He's going to be making more money than guys that were in his draft class that went to a Super Bowl, and Carson Wentz, who, should have won an MVP and has been to playoff games too. So there's got to be a little give and take, I guess, is what I'm saying. And it sounds like to me it's more Dak that's got to give a little bit than the Cowboys.
But, Chris, here's the thing. The market no longer matters once you're into the franchise tag calculation. That's what people are losing sight of. It doesn't matter what Carson Wentz or Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers or anyone else is making. What matters is $31.4 million this year, $37.68 million next year. The threat/promise of Dak Prescott forcing his way to the open market after only 2 seasons, like Kirk Cousins did, because they don't want to pay him $54.25 million in 2022. That's what's driving this. It doesn't matter what the market is. And let me give you a contrast here. And it's surprising that of the 2 teams, the Cowboys and your New York Giants, the Cowboys are being far less shrewd than the Giants were. And here's a quick example. I know we're going to take a break soon, but when Eli Manning was entering the final year of his prior contract, the one before the one that just ended, when you looked at what his franchise tag number was going to be the following year, based upon what his cap number was entering the last year of his contract, when you looked at what that franchise tag number was going to be, and you started running the numbers based on the franchise tag analysis, his contract would have made him the highest paid quarterback in football at the time, in large part because the market had stagnated around 22.5 million with Joe Flacco and Aaron Rodgers. So what happened was, when Eli Manning starts putting numbers on the table via his agency, the same agency that represents Dak, somebody from the Giants started leaking to the media that Eli Manning wants to be the highest paid player in football. There was a backlash against Eli, and abracadabra, Eli takes a hell of a lot less than his leverage would have allowed him to take. The Giants won that by taking him on from a PR standpoint, and there was nothing Eli could do about it. The Cowboys need to be willing to do something like that, Chris, if they're going to win this thing with Dak.
Well, I mean, I guess so. Yes, it seems like it's going that way. Because I will say, I mean, just from sitting here, and Mike, I'm never really on the team side with this stuff. Just from the outside looking in, it seems like the team has really tried to be very supportive of Dak Prescott. And, of course, giving them great contract offers, and again, all right. I know we're always about maximizing money, but if he gets $35 million a year, that's $70 million in 2 years. That beats that 68, the
69.
68.
Oh, it beats it by $1 million. It beats it by $1 million. He's already
well,
close.
how much does it have to be by? Do you have to feel good? How much do you need? That's
structure.
Right.
It's the structure.
Okay.
How much of it's fully guaranteed at signing? What is the cash flow? That's the thing. You can say we're offering you a 5-year deal that's worth $35 million a year, but if there's lots of ways to fudge those numbers to make it look better than it really is. I hear what you're saying, but here's the key, and here's the lesson for every other team out there. The Dallas Cowboys case study. When you have a quarterback, especially a mid to late round quarterback, who's on a 4-year contract, and he becomes your starter right out of the gates. I mean, we've never seen this before, where a guy becomes the starter as a rookie week 1, as a 4th-round pick, and starts every game for 4 years. Here's the thing. After that 3rd regular season ends and the window opens for a long-term deal, do it then. Put a money offer in front of the guy that he can't say no to. And the time to do it with Dak, Chris, would have been this, because after his 3rd season, they made it to the postseason. You're allowed to sign him to a new contract as soon as the regular season ends, not when the playoffs end. And there's a lot of people who have high-paying jobs in the NFL who don't realize this. It's when the regular season ends. You go to a guy as he's staring down a playoff run, you make him an offer that he can't refuse that's a hell of a lot less than $35 million a year. They'd have had this done last January.
I hear that. I'm not disagreeing with you there one bit. I think this is one spot where the Jones family messed up business-wise, where you went, this is your guy. He had taken you to the playoffs twice at that point, 2 out of the first 3 years. And Zeke Elliott was, had a bunch of issues in year 2, and that's why they didn't end up making the playoffs and kind of fell off that year. But you're right. That was the time to strike. They could have probably got Dak Prescott for $27, $28 million a year at that point, and he would have been happy to take it. Sign the deal. Let's go. Let's move on. But he played really well last year. He is one of the better quarterbacks in football, and he does have great leverage over the Cowboy franchise right now because of all the things you mentioned. So I guess, like I said, I'm just surprised we're still sitting here and this hasn't got done. I still think it will, because I think Dak Prescott loves the Cowboys and is a professional and wants to be the starting quarterback and all those type of things. But they're going to have to meet somewhere in the middle here with some of their disagreements.
July 15 is the target when the Cowboys signed Des Bryant to a long-term deal from under the franchise tag. July 15 was the day they got it done. Deadlines drive action in the NFL, and Stephen Jones made it clear that is the date we are watching, and it's just about 2 months away. All right, we need to take a quick break.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.